So, the Punisher is no stranger to making people look bad. A heavily armed ex-military vigilante with serious anger management issues, when he's not shooting criminals in the face, he frequently finds himself at odds with the government, law enforcement, and more traditional heroes of the Marvel Universe. And as such, Frank Castle is not a very popular man. Guns are all fine and well when you're shooting drug dealers, but somebody like the Incredible Hulk, well, it's going to take a bit more creativity. Now, whether straight up murder is on the table or off it, Castle continues to run rings around everyone who might come after him. So let's take a look at these moments. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 times the Punisher humiliated everyone. Number 10. The End. First, The End, in which the Punisher ends the world, or at least finishes what's left of it. In the aftermath of nuclear oblivion, only the Punisher and a handful of survivors remain. Those last men alive had better hope that they meet the Punisher's standards for continued survival though, which of course they don't. Deeming them responsible for ending the world, Frank duly executes them in his usual no-nonsense manner, their pleas falling upon deaf ears. The human race, you've seen what that leads to. He then turns and does the same thing to his only remaining companion for accidentally murdering some children and a bit of insurance fraud gone wrong before heading out for a walk in the flaming remains of the world. In the end, and this world of Marvel gods and superheroes who granted may have never existed in the Max alternative universe anyway, who would have thought the Punisher and his grim worldview to be the last man standing? Frank Castle doesn't laugh though, but if he did, this would surely be the last one. Number 9. Valley Forge, Valley Forge. Coming at the end of Garth Ennis' seminal run on Punisher Max, Valley Forge is one of the writer's more thoughtful takes on the character. Here, the US government, specifically a table of utterly corrupt military generals, has finally had enough of the Punisher's behavior and looses a team of elites upon him. Castle's rule of not killing the innocent is barely tested by the team assembled to take him down. Although they pose much more of a threat than your average goon, Frank frequently makes the team look like rookies, running rings around them on the battlefield, with help from the old grenade with the pin still in it trick amongst a few others. After being released by their colonel, who as it's revealed owes his life to Frank thanks to his actions in Vietnam, the Punisher sets his own sights on the crooked generals who dared to take him on. Needless to say, like common mobsters, they all end up dead too. Number 8. Sorcerer Extreme. Now, to be fair, Sorcerer Extreme sounds better than Punisher Strange or Dr. Punisher, which this essentially is. In Marvel's Secret Wars event of 2015, readers visited a world in which Frank Castle was possessed by Doctor Strange and reborn as Sorcerer Extreme. With the combined magic powers of Doctor Strange and the Punisher's no-nonsense brutalism, it's not long before the Sorcerer Extreme encounters the Infernal Four, this alternate universe's Spider-Man, Hulk, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine. Putting Strange's powers to good use, Punisher Strange pulps the Hulk to dust with but a few words and obliterates Ghost Rider with a magic bazooka. Infinitely cooler than that time he died and came back as Frankenstein. Remember that? Frankencastle? Oh, don't. Number 7. Welcome Back, Frank. A direct influence on Punisher's appearance in Season 2 of Daredevil, the pair's battle in Welcome Back, Frank serves as a perfect distillation of their antagonist relationship, but being written by Garth Ennis and the Punisher's flagship Marvel Knights title, fresh from his resurrection after the whole Frankencastle debacle, poor Daredevil was always going to come out of this a little worse for wear. After managing to defeat the man without fear in a fight thanks to sonic warfare, Punisher chains him up to a chimney top, taping a gun to the hero's hand. The choice Daredevil is faced with is then shoot the Punisher or watch as he executes his prey via a sniper rifle from that same rooftop. After rigorous debate, Daredevil pulls the trigger of an empty gun, making the Punisher's victory psychological as well as physical. The effects of this would reverberate to the ends of Ennis' run on Marvel Knights, as the Punisher continued to get on equally well with every other hero he'd meet along the way. To add insult to injury, Daredevil would be forced to relive this humiliating experience, chains and all, on his own television show. Number 6. Army of One. After his treatment of Daredevil in Born Again, one would hope that Marvel would go easy on the Marvel heroes for a while. Alas, that's not the case, as here he is again in the very next story by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. When the Russians come after Castle looking for revenge, now complete with a new body, poor Spider-Man happens across the pair's battle. While Frank's treatment of Spidey is more incidental than some of the others on this list, it could well be the most humiliating, as he uses the poor kid as a human shield against the Russians' attacks. Letting the Russian beat Spidey's face to a pulp while he attempts to work his web slingers, Frank finally manages to fill the hitman's face with web fluid, suffocating him before violently murdering him some more. Again, we had a team up, Punisher tells Spidey as he leaves the battered and broken man on a rooftop. You were great. Number 5. Aim low. Returning to Garth Ennis's Marvel Knights for a third time, here Castle has a certain Wolverine in his sights. While hunting a member of the mob, Punisher runs into old Knucklehead. While the pair have never really been friends, Frank rejects the idea of a team-up in favor of the complete and utter humiliation of the self-regenerating mutant. In what has to be Logan's lowest ebb, the stogie-sucking superhero has his face and balls blasted off at point-blank range, and is then attacked by the mob and crushed by a steamroller. Understandably, the whole situation leaves Wolverine feeling rather furious and swearing revenge, which he most definitely gets. Well, only if you read his own book and keep away from Garth Ennis's Punisher books, because he definitely doesn't get revenge in those ones. Number 4. Warzone. That rare comic book on this list which has nothing to do with Garth Ennis. 2012's Warzone book finds the Punisher having teamed up with accomplice Rachel Cole Alves. After she is arrested for their crimes, Castle vows to free her from prison, where she faces the death penalty. The Avengers are determined to make sure this doesn't happen, and conflict ensues. Facing a version of the Avengers which takes more than its fair share of inspiration from the MCU, most notably its depiction of Iron Man, Thor, and Black Widow, this is Frank at his sneakiest. Stealing and booby-trapping Iron Man's armor, attacking Spidey with his own webs, and sending the individual Avengers on a series of wild goose chases, Castle may be outnumbered and outmatched, but he's far from helpless. Sure, he suffers an almighty beatdown from the Avengers and is ultimately defeated, but he succeeds in rescuing Rachel and humiliating some of Marvel's heaviest hitters again. Number 3. Punisher kills the Marvel Universe. Now this was the mother of all Punisher triumphant stories. In this alternate universe tale, Garth Ennis, yes him again, imagines a world in which it was the X-Men who were partly responsible for the death of Frank Castle's family. Instead of the mob, this version of the Punisher wages his war on the superheroes and supervillains of the Marvel Universe, starting with Spider-Man because somebody had to be first, and finishing, aptly enough, with Daredevil. Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe delivers exactly what its title promises, the Punisher killing the Marvel Universe. While the concept has been imitated several times in fact, nobody quite does it better than Punisher, or Garth Ennis for that matter. Number 2. Marvel Universe versus the Punisher. It's the Punisher versus Marvel Zombies, but not those ones. After accidentally loosing an experimental new biological weapon upon New York City, the Punisher inadvertently turns its superpowered individuals into crazed bloodthirsty zombies, but again, not like other crazed bloodthirsty zombies of the Marvel Zombie universe. It's a bit confusing. After rescuing the last vestiges of humanity from the claws of death, Castle is tasked with assassinating the most powerful of them all, Patient Zero, or Spider-Man as we once knew him. While no small number of zombified heroes and villains are finished off by the Punisher, it's this still invincible Deadpool who gets the brunt of it, being killed repeatedly in a series of increasingly violent and rather humiliating ways. In typical Wade Wilson fashion, however, the merc with a mouth takes it all in good enough humor. And number 1, Confederacy of Dunces. Having had enough of their treatment at the hands of the Punisher, Daredevil, Wolverine, and Spider-Man join forces to settle Frank Castle's hash once and for all. Unfortunately, it goes about as well for them as their individual attempts ever did. While it's through sheer luck and his enemy's own stupidity that he manages to fend them off for the first time, it's a big, green, angry secret weapon that ultimately gets the heroes off his back for good, unfortunately for them. Confederacy of Dunces is the culmination of Garth Ennis's Marvel Knights run on the Punisher, sending Castle off with a bang before rebooting with his much more serious Punisher Max. Like the rest of Ennis's big superhero books, Confederacy of Dunces hardly presents its heroes in a good light, especially not poor Wolverine, who once again gets the roughest treatment, blown to smithereens with high explosives and left to regenerate in a bathtub, and then punched halfway across town by Hulk. A blackly comic, utterly cynical book with little to no respect for its heroes, Confederacy of Dunces is peak Garth Ennis. And there we go, my friends, those were 10 times the Punisher humiliated everyone. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there. Big love to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well and treating yourself with love and respect, because you deserve all the best things in life, alright? Now go out there and utterly smash your life goals today. I believe in ya. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.